Hey, alright, today is one of those times where this is really what this was about, because today I had a really terrifying episode. I can't remember much of what I dreamt last night, but I was sleeping really, really soundly, and one thing that happens, a good example of a sleep attack is that movie or that episode of Doctor Who where they keep waking up in a dream. I think it was a Christmas episode. It had Peter Capaldi and Gemma Coleman in it. And I'm sorry, my lips are really clicky. I'm gonna grab some water. I'll be right back. I need to wash this cup. It kind of tastes funky. But, there's an episode of Doctor Who. It's like a Christmas special, I think. And the aliens basically they have narcolepsy aliens where you keep waking up and you keep falling asleep. But you sleep forever. And that to me was the scariest, more than Blink, more than The Empty Child, more than, Midnight. That was the episode that, like, legitimately, it's like, that's my fear. I bet you a Narcoleptic wrote that episode. I don't know. I'm not going to look it up, but I bet it was. So what happened this morning was I had a normal dream, and then I woke up, and my morning schedule typically is I wake up, I bring the twins to school, I come home and go back to bed, and then I wake up an hour or a half an hour later to bring the baby to school and drop her off and come back home, go back to bed, take a nap until 10 o'clock, and then go into school. So mornings are really hell for me because I'm already, like, it's already that waking up and going back to sleep and waking up and going back to sleep. But I won't be able to, I know I can't function in the day if I don't have that. So, and today was a Friday, which means I didn't have class. And so that meant I had to wake up at 10 o'clock because I have to keep my schedule. So Sandra always wakes me up at 10 o'clock. And today we got back from picking up Ellie, dropping off. Shoot. I did just say baby's name, but, it's, you guys can keep a secret, right? Just don't talk about my baby. Or, don't. You can forget that. Shit, am I gonna have to start again? No, I'm not gonna start again, just, please respect my privacy. Baby, we get back from dropping baby off at school, and I go back to bed to take my nap. And then 10 o'clock rolls around, and Sandra wakes me up and is just like, hey, it's 10, it's time to wake up. And I say, okay. And I get up. In my perspective, I get up, I get dressed, I walk downstairs, and Sandra's there in like an alien spacesuit or something. I can't remember exactly, but it was weird. And I was just like, okay. So I just went along with it. And then, like 15 minutes later, Sandra wakes me up again. And she's just like, come on, you said you were getting up. And I said, oh, okay. And I got up again and I went out the door and like I started my day and we just, in the middle of doing chores, the roads were really slick because it's wintertime and I live in the north and roads get really slick. And I don't know what's going on with the city, but we don't have, the snowplows aren't driving, so I mean they are a bit like the salting and it's getting difficult. But so we're driving and we get to a stop sign and I hit my brakes and my brakes don't deploy. I just get that of the automatic car thing, and I know that the brakes aren't gonna go this time. So I need to do everything that I can do to avoid getting in an accident. And I've learned, because like my first week of driving, like my grandpa bought me a car for Christmas when I was 19. And it was like a really good car. It was like $2,000 and it was it was older than I was, but it was in really good shape. It was like an Oldsmobile and I was so excited for it. And it was just, I had just got my new apartment and I was excited to have my best friend who was living with me also got an Oldsmobile and we were gonna like go cruise in our Oldsmobiles together and we were so excited. And I crashed like my first week driving because I was on my way to the hospital for a different reason. This was probably the worst day of my life and the worst week of my life. Oh my gosh, this might start as a therapy session, but this was a couple weeks right before, like, I guess there were two worst times of my life. I'll get to the other one later, but it was the week my grandma died. Both of my grandmas died in the same week. And I started that week off by crashing my new car and then dropping a couple of classes because things, having so much going on, and dealing with a new diagnosis of Meniere's disease, like, so many things compacted. And that starts off with the jerking of the pedal, knowing that you're gonna crash and having nothing you know how to do to stop it because you didn't have a good enough driver's ed teacher. And that moment is forever tied to that feeling of that first car crash. So now, even though I haven't, well, I've gotten in fender benders, but I haven't, like, wrecked any cars so far, it's because of that PTSD. And so I crashed, and the next thing I knew, Sandra was in the bedroom, and she was like, "Sadie, it's time to wake up, come on." And I could tell she was getting a little bit frustrated with me, and I was just like, "Did that really happen?" And she's like, "Did what really happen?" I was like, "Did that, what's going on?" And she's just like, "It's 10 o'clock, it's time to get up, come on." I was like, "Okay." And I took some breaths, and I counted my fingers, and I was just like, "I'm okay. I'm not I'm okay." So I got up and I got dressed and I went on my way, and I slipped on a piece of clothing going down the stairs, and I hit each stair on the way down. And my back, my hip made the noise it made when I fell at work, and it, like, hit the back of the bookcase, and, like, that one was, like, I knew that fall was gonna fucking hurt going down. I was like, I just try to relax and maybe get the least amount of damage, because, like, I hit the back of the bookshelf, and then I hit the bottom of the floor, and there was just a crunch, and I heard it, and there was, like, a sensation, but I was just like, maybe if I just keep walking, I can ignore the sensation. And so I did. That was a bad decision. So my hip still hasn't quite got better from that. So yeah, I slipped and I fell down the stairs, and I hit every stair going down, and I was just in so much pain, and it hurt so bad. And then the next thing I knew, Sandra was really getting annoyed now. I can tell when she's her really getting annoyed voice. I'm like, is this real? Is this happening? And I'm in bed. And she's like, yes, this is happening. Come on. It's time to wake up. And so I do, and I count my fingers, and I go out, and things got weird. Like, we were going on a quest, but it felt as normal to me, like, we're gonna go get bread. Like, our quest is go to the grocery store. But it wasn't going to the grocery store. It was like getting something from somewhere, and this weird little kid was there, and I don't know who this kid was, but he was leading us through the snow, and then like the groceries turned into like a crystal ball or some shit. And it was really important, and I remember thinking, it's like, is this right? Am I dreaming? So I look down and I count my fingers, and I see like 6. So I was like, I know that this is a dream because I have 6 fingers. I need to now wake up from this dream. And then I was like, how do I wake up from this dream? And then I just tell myself, wake up. And I wake up, and the door, like, I'm in my bed, and it's like, okay. And I get up and I go about my day, and I am in Oz, and Dorothy's there, and like Toto, but Dorothy was also my child. And anyways, it went all sepia colored, and I was just like, this is really cool, and I want to see where this is going. And there was part of me that was just like, no, you need to wake up. And then I tried to wake up, but instead of waking up in my bedroom here, I woke up on my grandma's couch. And I was like 6. No, I was younger. I was probably like 3. And I had just watched The Wizard of Oz, and we were underneath the pull-out bed, the pull-out couch at my grandma's house, and that was on the resort. So it was my grandma's little house, and then it was the bar, and there was like a swinging doorway in the middle. But it was the middle of winter, so ice fishing hadn't quite started up yet. It was around the holiday times. So theoretically, we could have gone to our cabins, but it was really cold. So we all just stayed at grandma's. And now that I think of it, my mom and dad probably slept in my mom's childhood bedroom, because I remember sleeping at grandma, but mom and dad, I don't know where they went. No, dad, because dad, he was, during the winter, he was living in Hibbing, and he was working in Hibbing. So he wasn't there, for a lot of the times. He'd be over looking for a place for us to live in Chisholm. So he wasn't there. And I had a choice to make, because this is a memory I've been looking for. And I was there. But I was like, I need to get to my real life. I can't go down there. So I woke up. And I woke up in a dream I had from when I was 5 years old. And that was the first time I had a dream, and that was the first time this happened, because it was the first time I remember feeling like I want to wake up, but I can't. I don't know how. And I was really lost. And it was really scary. And I couldn't think rationally. All I know was I was scared, and I was a child again, and I didn't know what to do. And then Sandra came into my room, and she was really annoyed, and she was like, Sadie, come on, it's almost 11. You need to wake up, and like, you need to keep your schedule. And I asked if it was real, and she was really annoyed again, and she was like, of course it's real, like, yes, it's real. And she wouldn't leave until I got out of bed. And she, like, right away, I took my medicine and went downstairs, and she was, I went to, we really did have groceries we needed to get, and something else too, but, like, I was sitting at the kitchen table, and is this really real? She was like, yes, and I counted my fingers, and I had 10 fingers. And so I ate the world's unhealthiest, most unsanitary breakfast of fistfuls of Cocoa Puffs straight out of the box, but it's an old box, and like, it's not old, but like, there wouldn't be enough for a bowl, and I like my cereal dry, so it's like, I'm just like, the kids aren't gonna finish this, like, I'm just gonna finish this cereal. And like, even while, like, I was counting my fingers, and there were 5 of them, and 10 of them, and it's just like, okay. And I sat down, and Sandra was looking at me, and there were things I had, like, it's just like, okay, what do I need to do to get this day started? And I asked again. She said, yeah, this is real. And by that time, she was starting to get concerned. And I could see she was starting to get concerned, so I knew that, like, at this point she was on alert, and she wasn't gonna let me fall back asleep, because she is just the absolute best person I know when it comes to knowing me, and kind of, she's also chronically ill, and she's got to the point where she's just like, no, I'm gonna call you out on your bullshit, because, like, I want you to call me out on my bullshit. And she's usually right. I'm sorry, I'm really choppy again. I'll be right back. Oops, the camera went away. yeah. So Sandra's really good at, like, I know you need me right now. So, like, and so it was good. Because, but there was still some close calls, like when we went to the grocery store, I didn't look, I pulled out in front of someone, and, like, I got honked at, but it was, like, yeah, I had to put my hands up and, like, yeah, man, I'm sorry, like, let's figure out how to fix this, like, do you go first or do I go first? And, I usually let them decide, because it's like, and during that, like, I had to count my fingers, and I was distracted by counting my fingers, and it just, there were a couple of those, but luckily everyone's driving so slow right now that, like, it's, when my first car crashed, like, I was going the speed limit at a time where the speed limit, actually, I was probably going over the speed limit in a part where, like, the speed limit was starting to come down. That was my first car crash, like, so, like, it was, I managed to stop in time, but, like, it was scary. We had to miss fighters practice because it's like, we had so many near misses, and, like, so sorry I dribbled, but there are sirens outside. I wonder what's going on. I want to apply. I don't want to. I did apply for a new job as a 911 operator, a dispatch operator, and it pays really well. At least compared to any job I've ever had. It's a city job, and it'd be a union job, and I'm trying really hard to make that happen and keep my library job. We'll see how it goes. And keep in college and keep sane. So we'll see. But if I get it, it's like, it's a really good job. I really want it. And, yeah, so I think I'm really good in emergencies. And I, like, when the oil refinery in town exploded, it was just like, I was the first one that was just like, there was a big bang, like an explosion, like a mine blast. And I was like, yeah, that's a mine blast. That's the feeling of an explosion. And everyone around me is just like, what happened? Did something just land on the roof? And it's like, no, man, like, something just exploded. One kid just screamed, we're all gonna die. And then it was like, no, a dragon was on the roof, just took off. And, like, I was like, well, like, everyone else is freaking out. It's like, Oh, wait, I'm not on the Iron Range. Most people didn't grow up just to casually, like, yeah, it's Wednesday. Things are gonna fall off the shelf. Like the like the at least now they know how to contain it. Like early history of our town, like there were just fucking rocks that would sometimes fly and just land right by kids. And like some of them died and some of them didn't. And it was before we were unionized. So the employers were just like, we don't care if your kid dies, just get us that. Like, of course we think you're gonna die, but we put the canary down before we put you down, so like, it, at least we gave you a canary. And it was bad. But yeah, anyways, I went down a lot of tangents. Everyone was like, what was that? Was that what's going on? And it's like, it's an explosion. Like, come on, like, why are you guys so confused? And it was like, okay, no, okay, that wasn't supposed to happen. So, what do we do now? Like, well, we have to figure out where the thing's coming from, where the explosion came from, and usually when there's an explosion, you can see a cloud of something. So I went outside and I looked around, and we were looking around in the sky for a cloud, and there was a big black cloud coming up over the horizon. There. And I was like, yep, that looks like that's where the oil refinery is. So let's get us on Facebook and look around, like, see what we can find out. And the first reaction was, it's fine. Like, there was an explosion, the firefighters came and put it out. Like, don't worry about it, go on with your day. And I was like, I don't think that's okay. Like, I don't think we should do that. And some kids went but I was probably part of the problem, because I put on Facebook, my partner told me to put on Facebook, like, it's okay, we're fine. They say we don't need to evacuate. They say that firefighters are on the scene. Like, it's okay. We're okay. Like, we'll tell you the information when we have it. And meanwhile, everyone else was getting a lot more agitated. I was just like, oh no, we just keep checking, and like, we keep the kids calm, because if we freak out, they're gonna freak out. And a few times pass, and some kids go home because some parents are just like, I don't trust, like, in my gut, I don't trust that. And we were signing a new lease because our first rental hadn't worked out, so that was the day we had to leave town to sign this lease. And we went over to Duluth to the rental company, and we signed it, and we start going up the hill to our car, and we see a giant, huge cloud of just black smoke. And it's like, oh no. And our phones had all been silenced when we were in the rental company. And we look on our phones and it's just, they're blowing up. And we're like, okay, what do we have to do now? And what's the next step? Let's go do that next step. And then that next step was get the kids, get home, grab our stuff, and then go to Sandra's parents. Like, that was the plan, and we had a plan, and it's just like, yeah, that's what we'll do. Sandra actually really took lead in that emergency, now that I think about it. I think there was a part after so long waiting for my kids, not knowing, because I was there. I was right there for the first explosion. So I knew how close it was to the daycare. And I was in the city away. And I, that was really panic-inducing, because I had no idea, one, I was separated from the twins, who were, very, very, it was scary because I was separated from the twins, but also all of the I knew the twins' school was far enough away from the oil refinery that they'll, the buses are evacuating, they're going to meet at the Amsoil Arena, and we'll, this is where all the buses are gonna meet up, so, we went there, and I remember at the time Dave was driving, and I remember at the time we were doing that, this Charity Miles app, which is probably, I don't know, probably problematic now, but either way, my phone can't handle it anymore. But it was this, for every mile you walked, 50 cents, or however much money went to a charity of your choosing, and then they just sold your data. And it's like, I don't care, you can have my data. You can, it's fine, I'm not doing anything I'm too ashamed of. Could you do some embarrassing stuff? Yeah, but it's okay, I don't have much shame, so. And we had that app up, so we were going slow enough with the cars that it was registering that we were walking. And maybe that's how traffic is in big cities, I don't know, but it definitely has never been like that in Superior. And also, like, I feel so bad because there were people on the island, Barker's Island, that was also relatively close to the oil refinery and was like, had guests and residents living there. That's one road on that island and one road off. Like, they had to wait, like, getting off that island was a lot of, must have also been hell. Luckily, we didn't have to cross it, but we did have to cross the bridge that connects Duluth and Superior. And Duluth's on a hill, so, like, going down that hill, we could just see that black cloud growing darker and darker. And, like, that was so scary. And we had baby in the back, because she was like a baby at the time, and she was in a car seat. And we found out after the twins did really well with it too. Hermione, so I had to remember the name I gave her. Hermione was really good at comforting Mog. Or it might have been the other way around. I think, because Hermione's the older sister, so I think she was comforting Mog. Because I had always driven them to school, so this was their first time riding a school bus. And they loved the magic school bus. So she told her, like, it's okay, like, this is fun because we, like, it's not like on the magic school bus, like, just pretend we're doing that. So they were able to daydream the whole way there. And, like, so when they got to us, they were like, okay, what's happening? And we explained, like, we have to go home. We have to pack everything that we absolutely cannot live without. And then we had to go. And we did not have bug out bags prepared, but we did a pretty good job getting, like, enough underwear, enough t-shirts, enough pants, like, and most treasured possession. We did really good at getting all of that and leaving town. But, like, it's like, we might never see this house again, because there's a very real possibility that there was some sort of chemical that was in what, I don't know, it was something that if it would have started on fire, like, it was what I can only imagine an episode of, could be described as an episode of Station 19, where, like, if it gets to this, like, it will destroy the city and everything within a 10-mile radius, and it will not, like, it will probably not recover in our lifetime. And that is a beautiful, like, Lake Superior is so beautiful and is so precious. And, like, there was a very good chance, like, yeah, we could not only lose everything we own, but make this place uninhabitable because someone didn't check safety standards. But, they did pay us off, and that was dirty, but anyways. We went to Sandra's dad's after that. Because we weren't sure. My dad was sick. Yeah, I remember, my dad was sick, so he wasn't home. And Sandra was like, well, let's go to my home. Like, my dad will have us. But her dad also, like, absolutely did not have enough room. I ended up sleeping on the couch on a towel. But we did watch it, like, very intensely, and watched on the news as, like, fucking fireballs were spouting up from the air. And, oh, my lips are so dry. I'll be right back. I'm so sorry. Thanks, sorry about that. But yeah, like, we were watching a video camera of our mayor and his cameraman, and watching as the evacuation was going, and there was such a big problem too of the stubborn assholes who were like, just like, no, this is my home, I'm a ride or die, like, this is, if, like, I know, like, you can tell me to go, but, like, your police should absolutely be doing something else right now, and they're just convincing people to go for their own safety. And those old guys, we lived next to some of them, and they're like, no, you said this is a voluntary evacuation zone, like, we're 30 miles away, like, so all the bad stuff, like we're safe. It's like, that's not how that works. And of course, Biscuit and Dave were those also, like, they weren't going anywhere. And they weren't even stubborn, they were just, like, no, it's our day off. But Sandra made him promise that if the police spread out the mandatory evacuation zone, like, they would have, like, if they did that, they promised they would grab the cat and run. And it's like, yeah, so they might die. Like, this might go south and they might die because, like, they're just too stubborn to, they decided they were safe and they're just gonna out stubborn it, and, like, they didn't die, so that just reassured those bastards. They were just like, yeah, I challenge, like, just who blinks first? And it worked out for them. So they're just like, that just reaffirms it. But the second night after they got it out, they got the fire out, and I still, because they told me they got it out once and I left the city. Like, no, I was out of the city. I had to come back to get my kids and leave again because you guys told me it was out. So I'm not gonna come running back, like. But also, like, my back could not handle another night on Sandra's dad's couch. So I was just like, okay, like, hey Riley, my friend from childhood, you got a farm, right? And she was just like, absolutely, like, yes, you guys come on. Actually, she might have said, you know, right away, she might have said, like, you guys come here and stay at my farm. And Sandra was like, no, I really need my dad. So I was just like, yeah, no, I need a mom hug. So I need Sandra's stepmom. And because she gives really good mom hugs. And I wanted to go to my home in Chisholm where my parents were, but my dad had the flu and like the stomach flu, I shouldn't say, but he was real sick, so it was like, you can't bring the baby here, like, sorry, but it can't happen. And so we went to Sandra's parents instead. And then when they lifted, and then the next night I was like, okay, now they say it's out, but I don't think I trust it. So let's make sure it's out. And so then we went to Riley's farm. And oh my gosh, that family is just the funnest emergency family to be with. Because they're just like, yeah, we got you. We'll figure this out together, and like, we're here for you. And so it was just such Minnesotan moment. I think if you know what want to know what Minnesota nice is, it's like, yeah, it's like a Hallmark movie. It's like, we're with you in this. And so we stayed at the farm, and it was really, we watched the Grey's Anatomy 420 episode, and which is a great episode, by the way. And then we the kids were out, they were chasing chickens. It was spring, and the air was super, super clean. And, you know, I was with the people that I would do anything for, and I know they would do anything for me. And it was just such a magical place to be at that moment. It really was. It was just Raimi and Riley are the two sisters, and it's Raimi especially. She is just the best person. Like, just the best person I know. I have a lot of friends, like, I love all my friends, like, the absolute same amount, but I think when it comes to kindest, almost all of my friends would, like, Raimi is a kind person, and her and my friend Michaela are tied for just the kindest people I know. So, it just, she was there for me, and it was the moment, like, we got to breathe. And we all took a breath. And I was able to look at everything that happened, and it's just like, okay, we made it through. We're gonna get through this. Which also is just like the extreme opposite of COVID-19, which is like, that one, all you could do was stay inside. Like, there was no immediate plan. Like, and we had our friends that we could call, but it was just, that one was just such little human interaction. But we still had a good time because we would take the kids to the forest, because it was spring, and also they loved graveyards. They had just read the graveyard book at that point, and so they were, every time we went to the graveyard, they were looking for Bod from the graveyard book. And it was a nice way to survive. Like, just get another day. And after going through those two, like, very different experiences, it's like, yeah, I think I can, like, I think I handled that pretty well, all things considered. And like, a bunch of people complimented me too. There's another situation with a kid having a seizure that no one believed me about for like a minute. I won't say the name of the kid or the place, or but there's a little boy, and he was one of my babies when I was working in the baby room at the daycare. So a lot of these kids, I know I wasn't their mom, but like, I spent 8 hours of the day with them. It was up to me to teach them like what's good and what's bad. And all things considered, I think I did a pretty good job. Like, I think they all knew, like, yeah, we're homies. So I love them, like, and I love them so much. Every single one of them, it's like I was super protective. So we had this one kid, and I had just gotten diagnosed with my seizure disorder. And, and so I had just learned a whole bunch about seizures. I got this kid, and he's about 1, and he's really pale, and he's he can't stop what he's doing. And it's like, you gotta, like, he's having a seizure. And my coworkers were just like, no, he's not. Like, you just think you're just scared because you're having a seizure disorder, so you're seeing it everywhere. And I'm like, no. He's having a seizure. Like, it's time to call 911. And she's just like, well, are you sure? I don't want his parents to panic. And it's like, I don't care what you tell the parents, but if you're like, I'm calling 911 right now. Like, I'm making that call. And so she was just like freaking out because she was trying to get a hold of the parents. And I was like, right. So I called 911, and I asked, like, hey, what's your emergency? And I told them our address. And because that's the first thing in case you get, like, they'll just send all the help. And let someone know, like, what, like, yeah, there's something going on here. Send a available officer. Just whoever's in the area, and just send a, ambulance and a fire truck, or, just get an EMT there. So first thing was told him my address so the EMT could make it on their way. And like, all right, what's the scenario? And she's got a baby, and he's exhibiting these signs of a clonic-tonic seizure. And like, all right, what do you think, like, do you want to stay on the phone? And like, no, but I'll record it so when the EMTs get here, like, I could show them, like, exactly what's going on. And it's like, okay. And so I hung up, and I did all the steps of my seizure plan. And he, like, EMTs came, and they were like, well, we think he overheated, and that's what caused the seizure. And, like, you could follow up, but, like, I think he's fine. But you did, like, every step like, good job. And I was really proud of myself too. Like, that was just like, oh, that felt like I was so prepared for that. And it was because I had been having my seizure disorder. So it's like, it's just, and other times too, like, I'm real good at just went on the phone, like, what, like, I don't know, this video's getting long, and my voice is getting sore. So sorry, I don't know if it had a point. Good night.